people to see.
I know. The stuff that I do for beauty.
Beauty can be powerful, but in Hollywood, it can also become a trap. Behind the flawless photos, red carpets, and million-dollar smiles are people who chased perfection so hard they nearly lost themselves. From pop icons to reality stars, these are not just shocking plastic surgery stories. They are real lives, real scars, and the dark price of trying to outrun time, fame, and the mirror. Number 1. Pixie Fox. Pixie Fox did not want to look like a regular celebrity. She wanted to become something almost impossible, a living cartoon. Inspired by fantasy characters like Tinker Bell and Jessica Rabbit, Pixie turned her body into a project chasing curves and proportions that do not naturally exist in real life. Her transformation took more than makeup filters or clever posing. Pixie spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on plastic surgery, including breast augmentations, a Brazilian butt lift, rhinoplasty, eyelid surgery, cheek implants, and permanent makeup. But the procedure that shocked people most was the removal of 6 ribs to create an extremely tiny waist, pushing her body closer to a cartoon silhouette than a human one. What makes Pixie's story so disturbing is the message behind it. She often presents her transformation as freedom, the right to design your body however you want. But there is a darker truth hiding underneath. When fantasy becomes the goal, reality starts to feel like failure. Pixie Fox became a living symbol of modern beauty obsession, where being natural is no longer enough, and becoming unreal can cost money, pain, health, and maybe even a piece of yourself. Number 2. Donatella Versace. Donatella Versace was never just a fashion designer. She became the face of an empire built on glamour, power, and excess. After the tragic death of her brother Gianni, she stepped into a world that demanded perfection from every angle: perfect clothes, perfect bodies, perfect faces. And over time, the pressure of that spotlight seemed to leave its mark on her own image. Her transformation has been discussed for years. The fuller lips, the ultra-smooth skin, the lifted features, and the almost frozen expression made people wonder how far beauty treatments had gone. Donatella has never fully confirmed the rumors, but experts and fans have often speculated about Botox fillers and facial procedures. What once looked bold and glamorous began to look almost unreal. But behind the headlines and harsh comments, there is a more human story. Donatella lived in an industry where aging is treated like failure, especially for women. Maybe she was not simply chasing beauty, maybe she was trying to survive a world that never stops judging. Her face became more than a transformation. It became a symbol of fame pressure and the painful cost of trying to stay flawless forever. Number 3. Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell built his career on sharp honesty. As the face of the X Factor and Got Talent, he was known for his cold stare, brutal comments, and the kind of confidence that made contestants nervous before he even opened his mouth. But in recent years, people stopped talking only about his judging style. They started talking about his face. The change was hard to ignore. His skin looked tighter, his expression less natural, and his face seemed smoother than the man fans remembered from television. Simon himself later admitted he had gone too far with cosmetic treatments, especially fillers. What was supposed to make him look refreshed ended up making him look almost unrecognizable. The most honest wake-up call reportedly came from his young son Eric, who was upset by how different his father looked. That moment changed the story. Simon began stepping away from heavy procedures and tried to return to a more natural look through healthier habits, facials, and removing some fillers. But his transformation remains a powerful reminder of how fame can quietly distort reality. When millions of people are watching you age, the mirror becomes more than a mirror. It becomes pressure, fear, and temptation. Simon Cowell did not just try to look younger. He tried to beat time, and for a while time looked like it had won. Number 4. Linda Evangelista. Linda Evangelista was not just a model. She was one of the faces that defined an era. With more than 700 magazine covers and a career built on elegance, confidence, and almost impossible beauty, Linda seemed untouchable. But behind the perfect photographs and high-fashion runways, one decision changed everything. In 2015 and 2016, Linda tried cool sculpting, non-surgical fat reduction treatment that promised to reshape her body without a scalpel. But instead of making her feel more confident, it left her with a rare complication called paradoxical adipose hyperplasia. Areas of her body became hard, swollen, and enlarged. What was supposed to sculpt her figure ended up deforming it, and the woman once celebrated for her beauty disappeared from the public eye. For years, Linda lived in silence, hiding from cameras and struggling with shame, pain, and depression. Then in 2021, she finally spoke out, saying she had been brutally disfigured and left unrecognizable. Her story is not just about a beauty treatment gone wrong. It is about the pressure even the most admired women feel to stay perfect. Linda Evangelista became a painful reminder that the beauty industry sells dreams, but sometimes the cost is real scars, lost confidence, and a body you no longer recognize. Number 5. Mickey Rourke. Mickey Rourke was once the kind of Hollywood star people could not look away from. In the 1980s, he had everything: the dangerous charm, the intense eyes, the rough confidence, and a face that made him one of the most magnetic leading men of his generation. But behind that bad boy image, Mickey was fighting a different kind of battle, one that did not happen on a movie set, but inside a boxing ring. His time as a professional boxer left real damage. Broken noses, crushed facial bones, and injuries that slowly changed the face fans once knew. When he turned to surgery, it was not simply about vanity. He was trying to repair what the ring had taken from him. But according to Mickey himself, he chose the wrong surgeon, and what began as reconstruction became a transformation that Hollywood could not ignore. Over the years, the surgeries made him look almost like a different man. The soft, dangerous beauty that once defined him was replaced by a face marked by pain, mistakes, and survival. Mickey Rourke's story feels different because it is not just about chasing youth. It is about a man trying to rebuild himself after violence, only to lose another part of his identity in the process. His face became a map of fame, damage, regret, and the brutal price of trying to fix what life had broken. Number 6. Katie Price. Katie Price never tried to hide her plastic surgery. In fact, she turned it into part of her brand. From glamour model to reality TV personality, Katie built a career in front of cameras, headlines, and constant judgment. While many celebrities deny their cosmetic work, she did the opposite. She owned it, defended it, and made it part of the image people came to recognize. Her transformation began in the late 1990s with breast augmentation, but that was only the start. Over the years, Katie went through nose jobs, lip fillers, Botox, facelifts, and repeated breast surgeries that pushed her look further and further from the young model the public first knew. At certain moments, her appearance changed so dramatically that even fans were shocked by how different she looked. But what makes Katie's story so compelling is her honesty. She has called herself plastic without shame, presenting surgery as a form of control and empowerment. Yet behind that confidence, there is a harder question: when the body keeps changing, where does the real person stay? Katie Price's journey is not just about bigger lips, a smaller nose, or a more dramatic figure. It is about fame, insecurity, survival, and the dangerous line between choosing your image and becoming trapped by it. Number 7. Jessica Alves. Jessica Alves did not simply change her appearance, she rebuilt her entire identity in front of the world. Before becoming Jessica, she was known as Rodrigo Alves, the so-called human Ken doll, a person willing to push beauty standards far beyond what most people could imagine. But over time, that image was no longer enough. Her transformation became something deeper, more personal, and far more complicated. From a young age, Jessica turned to plastic surgery as a way to create the body she felt she was meant to have. Nose jobs, facial procedures, body implants, rib removal, and countless other operations became part of her journey. Later, as she transitioned into a woman, the surgeries continued: breast implants, facial feminization, curves, fillers, and a completely new silhouette designed to match the woman she saw inside herself. But Jessica's story is not just about shock value or extreme beauty. It is about identity pressure and the dangerous comfort of transformation. Every surgery may have brought her closer to her dream image, but it also raised the same haunting question: how much can one body take before the search for happiness becomes a never-ending addiction? Jessica Alves became more than a human Barbie figure. She became a living example of how powerful and painful the desire to become yourself can be. Number 8. Joan van Ark. Joan van Ark was once one of the most recognizable faces on American television. Best known for her role in Knots Landing, she carried the elegance and confidence of an 80s TV icon. Her beauty was classic, her screen presence was strong, and for years, audiences remembered her as one of those stars who seemed naturally built for the spotlight. But as time passed, the conversation around Joan slowly shifted. People stopped talking only about her acting and started focusing on her face. Her skin appeared extremely tight, her lips looked fuller, and her features seemed dramatically different from the woman fans once knew. Joan has never openly confirmed major plastic surgery, but many viewers and cosmetic experts have speculated about facelifts, fillers, Botox, and brow lifts. What makes her story feel so real is not just the physical change, but the fear behind it. Hollywood can be ruthless to women as they age. One day you are celebrated for your beauty, and the next, the industry treats every wrinkle like a warning sign. Joan van Ark's transformation became more than gossip. It became a reminder of how fame can turn aging into something terrifying, and how the fight to stay young can sometimes take away the very expression that once made a face unforgettable. Number 9. Justin Jedlicka. Justin Jedlicka did not grow up dreaming of looking ordinary. From a young age, he was fascinated by the idea of designing the human body the way an artist designs a sculpture. While other people chased fitness, fashion, or fame, Justin chased something far more extreme: perfection. And in his mind, perfection looked like Ken, the plastic doll with flawless features and impossible proportions. His journey began at just 18 years old with a nose job. But that first surgery opened the door to a life built around transformation. Over the years, Justin went through hundreds of procedures, including implants in his chest, biceps, triceps, shoulders, and even custom-designed implants made to create a more dramatic, almost superhero-like shape. He was not trying to look natural. He was trying to look unreal, unforgettable, and completely self-made. What makes Justin's story so fascinating is that he does not hide from the label human Ken doll. He embraces it. To him, surgery is not a mistake. It is art, freedom, and control. But behind every perfect angle and every artificial muscle, there is a deeper question when you keep rebuilding your body. Are you becoming more yourself or disappearing piece by piece? Justin Jedlicka's transformation is bold, shocking, and strangely honest, a reminder that the search for perfection can sometimes become a lifelong performance. Number 10. Jocelyn Wildenstein. Jocelyn Wildenstein became famous for a name she never truly asked for: Catwoman. In New York high society, she was once known as a wealthy, mysterious woman, surrounded by luxury, art, and scandal. But over time, her face became more famous than her life. The lifted eyes, exaggerated cheeks, stretched skin, and full lips turned her into one of the most talked-about examples of extreme plastic surgery. According to the story, Jocelyn's transformation was not simply about looking younger. It was tied to something much more painful: love, insecurity, and the desire to please her husband, billionaire Alec Wildenstein, who was said to be fascinated by big cats. What may have started as an attempt to become more desirable slowly became a complete reinvention. Surgery after surgery, her face moved further away from natural beauty and closer to something almost feline, almost unreal. The saddest part is not just how much she changed, but why. Jocelyn's story feels like a warning about what can happen when self-worth depends on someone else's approval. After her divorce, the money remained, the headlines exploded, but the damage was already visible. She did not just change her face. She became a symbol of obsession, denial, and the heartbreaking cost of trying to be loved by becoming someone or something you were never meant to be. Number 11. Nikki Exotica. Nikki Exotica was not born as the woman the world sees today. She built her piece by piece. Before becoming Nikki, she was known as Nicole Sanders, and for more than 2 decades, her life became a full-scale transformation, part gender journey, part Barbie fantasy, and part obsession with plastic perfection. From a young age, Nikki felt disconnected from the body she was given. She admired Barbie dolls not just as toys, but as a symbol of beauty, femininity, and the kind of flawless image she desperately wanted for herself. Over the years, she reportedly spent around $40,000 on cosmetic procedures, including breast implants, oversized lips, sculpted cheeks, a smaller waist, permanent makeup, and other changes meant to turn her into a living doll. But Nikki's story is more than shock value. It raises a real question about identity and limits. When someone changes their body to match who they feel they are inside, it can be powerful. But when the goal becomes perfection, the line between self-expression and obsession can disappear. Nikki Exotica's transformation is bold, emotional, and deeply human, a reminder that sometimes the person we create on the outside is still searching for peace on the inside. Number 12. Tiffany Taylor. Tiffany Taylor's transformation began after a painful chapter in her life. Following the end of a 10-year marriage, she did not just want a fresh start, she wanted a completely new version of herself. And in her mind, that version looked like Ivanka Trump, polished, powerful blonde, elegant, and impossible to ignore. In just 1 year, Tiffany reportedly went through 13 cosmetic procedures, including breast augmentations, a nose job, cheek fillers, and several other enhancements meant to reshape her face and body. Every surgery was a step toward the same goal: to erase the woman she saw in the mirror and replace her with the image of someone she believed represented beauty, confidence, and success. But the most haunting part of Tiffany's story is that even after all those procedures, people still did not really see Ivanka Trump. Some said she looked more like Britney Spears or Christina Aguilera. That makes her transformation feel even more tragic. Tiffany was not simply chasing beauty, she was chasing identity. Her story is a reminder that when you try to become someone else, the mirror may change, but the emptiness underneath can stay exactly the same. Number 13. Neven Ciganovic. Neven Ciganovic was no stranger to attention. As a Croatian stylist and reality TV personality, he built his image around glamour, confidence, and a polished appearance. Plastic surgery was already part of his life, but one procedure turned his beauty journey into one of the strangest medical stories in the entire article. Looking for another nose job, he even traveled to Iran for what was supposed to be a simple rhinoplasty. At first, everything seemed normal. But after the surgery, his body reacted badly to the anesthesia, leaving him with a rare and painful complication that quickly became a medical emergency. What began as a search for a better profile suddenly turned into fear, discomfort, and urgent treatment. The most surprising part is that even after such a terrifying experience, Neven still talked about wanting more surgery. In his mind, he was just one step away from perfection. That is what makes his story so unforgettable. It is not only about a botched procedure. It is about how the desire to improve your appearance can become stronger than common sense. Neven Ciganovic's transformation is bizarre, dramatic, and painfully real, a reminder that beauty can sometimes lead people straight into danger. Number 14. Valeria Lukyanova. Valeria Lukyanova did not become famous for looking beautiful in the traditional sense. She became famous because she looked almost unreal. Known around the world as the human Barbie, the Moldovan model shocked the internet with her tiny waist, porcelain-like skin, doll-style makeup, and icy stare that made people question whether she was even real. Her look was not created by accident. Valeria carefully built an image that seemed pulled straight from a toy box: long blonde hair, dramatic contact lenses, heavy contouring, and a body shaped to match fantasy proportions. While she has denied many surgery rumors, her appearance still sparked endless speculation about cosmetic procedures, breast implants, and extreme body control. But Valeria's story goes beyond plastic beauty. She has also spoken about spirituality, higher consciousness, and unusual beliefs that made her even more controversial. To some, she is living art. To others, she is a warning sign of what happens when a person becomes more attached to an image than a real identity. Valeria Lukyanova did not just chase perfection. She turned herself into an illusion, and the world could not look away. Number 15. Blondie Bennett. Blondie Bennett did not just want to dress like Barbie. She wanted to become Barbie in the most extreme way possible. From the blonde hair and doll-like outfits to the oversized curves and plastic perfect image, Blondie built her entire identity around a fantasy she had admired since childhood. But her transformation did not stop with her body. Over the years, she reportedly went through multiple cosmetic procedures, including breast augmentation, rhinoplasty, Botox, and fillers, all designed to push her closer to the living doll image. But what shocked people most was not the surgery. It was her decision to use hypnotherapy because, according to her, she wanted to become more stupid and think less like the empty-headed Barbie stereotype she believed people desired. That is what makes Blondie's story so unsettling. For her, becoming a doll was not a joke or a performance. It was the dream. She wanted to be seen, touched, and treated like a fantasy object. Behind the pink clothes and artificial smile is a darker truth about beauty culture. Sometimes people do not just change how they look. They start erasing who they are to become what the world rewards. Number 16. Victoria Wilde. Victoria Wilde did not dream of becoming a runway model or a classic Hollywood beauty. Her goal was much more extreme. She wanted to look like a living sex doll. Born in Latvia, Victoria once struggled with feeling ordinary, insecure, and not desirable enough. But instead of quietly carrying that pain, she turned it into a full-body transformation. Her journey involved multiple breast augmentations that pushed her to a dramatic 32G size, along with permanent lip implants, Botox, and other cosmetic procedures designed to create an exaggerated, artificial look. Every change moved her further away from a natural appearance and closer to the fantasy image she wanted the world to see: big curves, oversized lips, and a face shaped more like a doll than a real person. But the most unsettling part of Victoria's story is not just what she changed. It is who helped pay for it. According to the original article, her transformation was supported by her partner, a wealthy sugar daddy, and even her modeling agency. That raises a darker question. Was this really empowerment? Or was she being shaped by a culture that rewards women for becoming fantasy objects? Victoria Wilde's transformation is shocking, but also strangely sad. A reminder that sometimes the desire to be wanted can cost a person their most authentic self. Number 17. Jordan James Park. Jordan James Park did not just admire Kim Kardashian. He wanted to become a version of her image, bigger, louder, and impossible to ignore. What started as fascination slowly turned into a full transformation, fueled by celebrity culture, social media, and the belief that beauty could be copied if you had enough money, pain tolerance, and desire. To chase that look, Jordan reportedly spent tens of thousands of dollars on cosmetic procedures. His lips became dramatically enlarged. His cheeks were reshaped with fillers. His eyebrows were tattooed, and multiple nose procedures changed his face so much that even breathing became difficult. Every detail was meant to bring him closer to the Kardashian-style glamour he worshipped. But Jordan's story is not just about plastic surgery. It is about what happens when admiration crosses into obsession. Instead of becoming Kim Kardashian, he became something more extreme, an exaggerated reflection of fame itself. His face turned into a statement, but also a warning. When you build your identity around someone else's image, the mirror may stop showing who you are and start showing only who you were desperate to become. Number 18. Chloe Lattanzi. Chloe Lattanzi grew up with a last name the world already knew. As the daughter of Olivia Newton-John, one of the most beloved stars in music and film, Chloe was born near fame, beauty cameras, and comparison. But being close to a legend can be heavy. From a young age, she lived under public judgment, where every change in her face, body, and behavior could become a headline. Behind the glamorous image, Chloe struggled with real pain. The original story points to eating disorders, body dysmorphia, addiction, and the emotional pressure of trying to feel good enough in a world that constantly measures women by appearance. Plastic surgery became part of that battle. Breast augmentations, nose work, facial fillers, and changes to her lips and brows were not just about vanity. They seemed like attempts to fix wounds that were never really on the outside. What makes Chloe's story powerful is that she eventually spoke honestly about her struggles. Her transformation is not simply a celebrity surgery story. It is a reminder that beauty cannot heal trauma, fame cannot silence insecurity, and a new face cannot automatically create peace. Chloe Lattanzi's journey feels painfully human because it shows the truth many people hide. Sometimes the mirror is not the problem. The pain behind it is.